Join me today as I meal prep for my family. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about meal prepping and how it's something that I've been wanting to do for probably a few years now because I love watching other YouTubers create all of these beautiful freezer meals that they tuck away, and then it eases up all of their time to do other things. But I think one of the things that stopped me from doing this is that I didn't really like the idea of having freezer meals because they just don't taste the same once you reheat them. So instead of freezer meals, what I'm doing is I am preparing things in advance that I can use throughout the week. And this is my third week doing this. And you guys, it has been a game changer for me, and I am so excited of what I can achieve in the future if I keep doing this. And by the way, I'm just tidying up my kitchen before I actually get started with the meal prep. But the first week that I started doing meal prepping, I actually created a whole salad bar in my fridge, and it was totally awesome. I had romaine lettuce, and I had kale, and I had all kinds of veggies chopped up, ready to go. And it was great, but the biggest problem with it was that no one wanted to eat salad for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we got tired of it pretty quickly. And I actually struggled so much with dinners that week that we ended up ordering pizza. I ended up going to the store and getting chicken strips and looking for quick meals at dinner time. And I was just able to put a salad on the side with those things, but it wasn't great. So anyways, this week, one of the things on my menu is burritos. And so I have these pinto beans here, and I soaked these overnight. I'm going to be slow cooking these all day today while I do other things so that I can make refried beans and then reserve some of them to make chili later in the week because I'm going to be cooking up a big batch of taco meat. And so this is one of the things that I think can really stretch out my meals this week, is having a few ideas with the same ingredients. And so I'm just getting these into my cast iron cooking pot. And my daughter actually bought this for Christmas for me this year. And I bought her the exact same one last year. But she's loved it so much because she also makes sourdough bread that she thought it was time that I had a new one. Because you'll see later in the video that my other cooking pot is getting very old and very ugly. So I'm just looking in my spice cupboard, which definitely needs a good clean out because I had a hard time finding them, but I'm looking for my bay leaves, and I'm planning on adding 2 bay leaves and 1 clove of garlic to my cooking pot just to add a little extra flavor to my beans. I've done this before and it really does just help flavor them a little bit. The next thing I'll be making is banana bread. And you guys, this is the most moist, delicious banana bread. And my family wants it all the time now. And I've created a recipe for my all-purpose baking mix. So I'll be sharing that recipe with you guys soon. And I wanted a recipe that I could use up a lot of bananas in, because oftentimes when I buy bananas, I end up with a lot of extra really overripe bananas because we really only like to eat them when they're just past the green stage. And I don't really like eating ripe bananas, but they're perfect for banana bread. My husband and my son both go crazy for this. They love it. And I've pretty much been making it on repeat and buying bananas just so I can make them banana bread. And the other thing that's great about it is that I've been including it in my kids' school lunches, which is always a struggle. And I desperately want to stay away from all of those packaged sweets that they put in the stores for you to give your kids. And yes, this has sugar in it and it is sweet, but there's still wholesome ingredients in it, and I feel like it's just a better option than something that's packed with preservatives that would probably last for months on the store shelves. And so homemade is always going to be a better option, and I really want to try to create more recipes for school lunches because that has been one of my biggest struggles over the years. And just in general, cooking is a struggle when you are a homemaker and you've been doing it day in and day out, 365 days out of the year, no breaks, no exceptions. You always have to come up with something. And I've been doing this for over 20 years now because my oldest daughter is turning 25 this year. And so I've been doing, at least 20 years of school lunches. And let me tell you, it gets real old real fast. So anything that can help me with that, I really look forward to. So this banana bread has been awesome, and I'm just putting some of my newly bought bananas back into the bowl, and I'll probably be waiting for those to ripen so I can make more banana bread. I've made this banana bread enough times now to know that I need to cut my parchment sheets to fit inside of my bread pans. And I like to grease the pans and then place the parchment sheets in there. And that just helps to prevent any tearing when you're taking the banana bread out. So I like doing it this way. And I really can't wait to share this recipe with you guys. It is so good. And I'm just splitting it up between the two pans. I double the recipe. So I always have two going at once because it takes an hour and a half in the oven. And so I'm going to be prepping a few other things that are going to go into the oven at the same time because an hour and a half is a pretty long time to have the oven running. So I might as well make use of it. And so I've got these chicken breasts, and you guys, meat is getting expensive. These chicken breasts costed me $25 at Walmart. But I made these chicken breasts last week, and although it seemed really expensive, I got some really good meals out of it, and I felt like it was worth it, and it was just such good meat. So I'm doing the exact same thing this week. I'm just putting some olive oil, some salt and pepper, and then I also have some chicken and rib keg seasoning that I'm putting on here, and it just added a lot of flavor, so I'm doing the same thing. And then I'm just going to pop this in the oven at the same time as the banana bread so they can all cook together. So I have some pretty good goals going for the new year, and one of those goals is fitness. I actually got myself a rebounder, which is a mini trampoline. I have it down in my basement, and I am going on this thing every single day, you guys, and I am loving it. And so I see that doing this meal prepping is really going to allow me to stick to some food goals as well, because having things ready to go is just going to make it so much easier for me in terms of eating healthily and not going to go out and get chicken strips or order pizza. And speaking of pizza, that's what I'm getting started here. Is I'm going to make some sourdough pizza dough. And I am just doing this autolyse phase of the sourdough. So I'm just adding my starter to some water and flour, and that's going to sit for a few hours. And here's my husband. It's actually our anniversary today. We're going to the movies tonight. And so that the pizza is going to be for tonight as well. And so I'm peeling these onions so that I can get started with my taco meat, I bought some ground beef, which also is getting really expensive. Everything is getting so expensive. So I really want to make sure that I'm utilizing these meats that I'm buying because, if I bring them home, they either need to get cooked or they need to be put in the freezer. And if I put them in the freezer, I feel like it's a lot more work to then take them out, unthaw them, and cook them. And so I'm just getting started with this taco meat. And I actually ended up using a little bit of this taco meat for our pizzas, as well as the roasted chicken. So that worked out really good. So I'm just adding the meat. I salted the onions, and I'm adding 2 packs. And this is medium ground beef, so it's not lean. And you'll see I ended up having to drain off some fat. But meat is just getting ridiculously expensive, and so I went for the medium instead of the lean because it was quite a bit less expensive. The next thing on my agenda is I want to make some chocolate cake for my kids for Valentine's Day. And I have these heart-shaped baking pans. And I also want to use my all-purpose baking mix because I've been making so much banana bread, but I still want to continue to try new recipes. And so I'm going to do that with this chocolate cake. And I just needed some ideas of the other ingredients I might need to add for the cake. And it totally ended up working out. So there are the heart-shaped pans, and I think it's going to turn out really cute. So getting to talking a little bit about homemaking and self-care. I really feel like doing food prep, even just once a week, can really help us not only with our food goals and making sure that we're eating healthier, but I also feel like it will ease up more time in our day because for me, having these cooked proteins means that if I want to, let's just say, make a pad thai for dinner, all I need to do is cut up veggies and my meat is already cooked. And then I just need to throw the noodles in and it's done. It just makes things so much quicker. And that means that I don't have to spend my whole day thinking about what I'm going to make for dinner. If I already have my cooked meats ready to go, it's so simple to figure out what I want to do with them. Quite honestly, parenting is one of the hardest jobs you will ever do. It takes so much dedication, it takes so much of your time. And really, as a parent, you are the one that often suffers in order to take care of other people. And I have been through this. I'm sure any of you parents out there know what I'm talking about. But our health goes down and, we're just kind of living in survival mode sometimes. And we don't take the best care of ourselves. And things that go to the wayside are things like exercise and eating properly. And I'm really in a place where I really want to get back in shape. I really want to start eating better. And I'm in my 40s now. And I'll just say that I'm at that point where you need to start thinking about your future. And do you want to age healthily, or do you want to just go down, in a walker and a cane? And I really feel like if you don't take care of your health, your future isn't looking great. And so I'm at the point where I'm really thinking about this. So I plan on taking this year and changing my entire way of living, eating, because I feel like it's all about habits. Your habits and routines really is what gives you your results. And so I'm really going to be working on that this year. So here is my cooked meat, and I have to drain all of this fat. So I have a strainer with a bowl underneath to catch the fat, and I just thought this was the easiest way to get the fat out of here. So Anyways, I'll be talking more about this in the future, but I'm definitely changing some of my habits, some of my routines, and I'm really looking forward to a brighter future in better health. And I feel like food prep is the start of that. So here is the amount of fat that came out of there, and that's a lot of fat. I can't believe how much came out. And then my cake is in the oven. I put it in for the last half hour of the hour and a half that the banana bread needed to be in there. So I've got my cakes, I've got my banana bread, and I've got my chicken. So things are looking really good here. And yes, the banana bread and the cake make it seem not so healthy, but just remember that I do have kids and, you know, they love eating things like this, and it's a lot better than buying all of that junk at the store. But in terms of having the protein, I feel like if I included that with the salad bar and having other things ready to go, I feel like I could create a really good environment for eating healthy. And so I just need to keep adapting and changing things that work. And I feel like having the protein really works in terms of dinner time, but I feel like it's also great to have the salads, and I always have microgreens available, which is also great. Now I'm just adding a little bit of this bean liquid to my meat because the meat was a bit on the dry side after removing all of the juices. And here's my chicken, and that's looking great. And everything is just gonna cool off for a few minutes. I stirred a bunch of taco seasoning into this meat, which is gonna add a lot of flavor, and it's also going to flavor it up if I want to make that chili later in the week. So now I'm taking off the cover on my dough, and I'm adding some salt and some oil. I ran out of olive oil, so I'm using grapeseed oil. And this is for my pizza dough. And I'm just going to be stirring more flour into this to get it to the right consistency. And then I'll continue to let this rise. You know, it's all about incremental changes. And I have a family that loves pizza, but I feel like it's healthier to make your own pizza, especially if you're using a sourdough crust. And so that's one change that I can make. And, you know, we used to get frozen pizzas, which are just horrible, and they don't even taste good. And so taking a day like this to just get all of my ducks in a row just makes me feel so accomplished and so good. And it just makes everyone feel secure because, you know, just having that prepared food around, it's just like insurance. I just love it. So I'm definitely going to keep on doing this every single week. So now I'm adding my taco meat into a container. I'm going to let that cool off, and then that's going to go into the fridge. And then I'm also going to cut up my chicken, and that's also going to be going into the fridge. And this was quite a bit of meat. That container was pretty heavy. So these chicken breasts are fully cooked. They're really tender, really juicy. And I'm just going to be slicing these up. And I do see pre-cut chicken like this for sale at Walmart. And I don't know, there's just something about that that I don't know, it doesn't seem as healthy as doing it yourself. Because you know that this is fresh, it doesn't have any chemicals in it. You never know with those bags that are sitting in the store. I just don't trust them. So this chicken is going to be ready to go, and it can be used in a multitude of ways. So that just makes me feel really, really good. And then there are my beans, and I'm going to be using those later in the week. I'm not going to do the refried beans today. I'm actually pretty pooped, and this is the end, you guys. So I will see you in next week's video, and I hope that you'll give food prep a try.